Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have an incredibly important topic to discuss, the interview with Sierra Leone's First Lady, Fatima Maada Bio. Her words cut deep into the heart of what Africa has been grappling with for centuries: colonialism, exploitation, and the continued oppression of our people. And let me be clear, this is not just a conversation for Sierra Leone, this is about the future of the entire African continent. We're going to analyze her powerful statements, dive into the realities of neo-colonialism, and most importantly, discuss how we can finally liberate Africa from the stranglehold of foreign powers. This is for those who believe in a free and independent Africa, an Africa that controls its own destiny. Let's get into it. Fatima Bio starts with a straightforward but profound observation.
When you look at what Sierra Leone have to offer, when it comes to our mineral resources, the kind of mineral resources we have in our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country.
Think about that for a moment. Sierra Leone has been blessed with immense natural wealth, diamonds, gold, iron, or bauxite, enough to provide not just for its people but to elevate the entire nation to prosperity. Yet we see the opposite: poverty, unemployment, underdeveloped infrastructure. This isn't a coincidence, it's a well-engineered outcome of a global system that has always seen Africa as a source of extraction, not development. The First Lady continues.
But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources. There's always Big Brother who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition and they'll be supporting the opposition against you from the back, or they cause unnecessary chaos in your country so that you are not able to even govern your own people.
And this is exactly the problem. The so-called big brothers of the world, whether it's the US, the UK, China, or even global institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, continue to pull the strings in our countries. They extract our wealth and dictate our policies, leaving us with almost nothing in return. Fatima Bio delivers a painful truth when she reveals that every mining company in Sierra Leone is foreign-owned.
Every mining company that is in Sierra Leone today is owned by a foreigner. Every mining company. If it's not the Chinese, it's the American, it's the British. Our electricity, Bumuna, is run by the British, and we still don't have light.
This isn't just Sierra Leone's story, this is Africa's story. Countries rich in resources but shackled by foreign ownership, where the wealth of the land is funneled to corporations in the West or East, while our people suffer. Think about the Democratic Republic of Congo with its cobalt and coltan, think about Nigeria with its oil, and Ghana with its gold. These resources could turn these nations into powerhouses of development, yet the profits are siphoned out of the continent, leaving us struggling. And we're left with pennies.
Before my husband became the president of Sierra Leone was benefiting, they said, what's the word? 0.000.1%. What is that? Basically, a company can take as much as $100 million out of the country in terms of minerals, and then they can just give the country $10,000. Now, what will $10,000 do for our health system? What does $10,000 do for our educational system?
Let's pause on that for a second. $100 million in resources, and the people get just $10,000 in return. What will $10,000 do for a nation's healthcare system? For education? For infrastructure? Absolutely nothing. It's an insult, and this is the kind of exploitation that has kept Africa underdeveloped since the so-called end of colonialism. At one point, Fatima Bio questions the meaning of independence for African countries.
The sense about us celebrating independence, I don't know why we celebrate independence, because we are not free. That is my own take. I'm not speaking also on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, nor am I speaking on behalf of His Excellency the President. I am speaking as Fatima, as a citizen of a country who believes that things need to change.
I couldn't agree more. Many African nations celebrate independence from colonial powers, but what does that independence actually mean if foreign corporations and governments still control our resources and economies? The colonial flag may have been lowered, but the strings of control are still there. This is what we call neo-colonialism, where the chains are no longer visible, but they are still as tight as ever. Now, we can't have this conversation without calling out our own leaders. Fatima Bio speaks about the importance of patriotism.
Patriotism is very important. You have to love your country to want your country to be a better place. Patriotism, I think we have to have that sense of patriotism in our countries, and our leaders also should be subjected to that.
Where is the patriotism of many of our African leaders? Too many of them are simply puppets of the West and the East. They enrich themselves while selling off the land and wealth of their countries to foreign powers. They have no problem taking kickbacks from foreign companies while their own people starve. It's disgraceful. This is not leadership. This is betrayal. Fatima Bio calls for accountability.
Accountability. Who accounts for what is happening? Who is the one who is changing the narrative of what is happening?
We know who they are. The corrupt politicians, the elites, the unpatriotic officials who line their pockets at the expense of their countries. These are the individuals who enable neo-colonialism. They sell out their people for a fraction of the wealth being extracted. We must hold these leaders accountable if Africa is ever to be free. Fatima Bio also brings attention to the global power struggle and how Africa is caught in the middle.
You know, this divide and rule. If you're close to China, we will not come to your country. If you're close to America, we will not come to your country. I mean, the fight that is between England, Europe, America, China, Russia is not a Sierra Leone fight. That's not our problem. We're fighting for our daily bread. We're looking to have education, just like America. We're looking to have good health facility. Just like Europe, we're looking to have governance structure where one single person cannot be the dictator of a nation. That's what we're looking for.
This is one of the most critical points. Africa is constantly being dragged into geopolitical battles that have nothing to do with us. The US and Europe are competing with China and Russia for influence over Africa, but let's be clear, none of these countries care about our well-being. They care about our resources. They see Africa as a chessboard, where the real game is the control of minerals, oil, and strategic land. And they use whatever means necessary to maintain that control. If an African leader starts pushing for real independence, they are suddenly faced with destabilization efforts, coups, or sanctions. This is exactly what Fatima Bio is saying when she mentions,
in Africa, you should not have a leader that is assertive, a leader that knows what his people want, a leader that wants to change what is happening. The moment you have that, it's everyone's target. And then they find reason to slow you down, they find reason to stop you, and they use that system of corruption. They use corrupt people, they use negative people, they use unpatriotic citizens to come after a government who is doing what is right for a system.
This is how the system works. Divide and rule. They pit Africans against each other, support opposition groups, and create chaos to keep control. We saw this in Libya. We saw this in the Congo. We saw this in Zimbabwe. And we are seeing it across the continent today. So, where do we go from here? I believe Africa's liberation will come from within. It will come when African countries unite, not just politically but economically. We need to stop relying on Western aid or Chinese loans and start relying on each other. Fatima Bio makes it clear.
What is happening in Africa today? It needs to change, and it needs to change now. There is no time like now, because for Sierra Leone, we now have a president who believes that we cannot wait for other people to come and develop us. We cannot wait for another country to come and prescribe how our country should be run or what we need in our country.
Africa must set its own course. We need leaders who are committed to the development of their own people, not leaders who are looking to please foreign masters. We need a new generation of Africans who are dedicated to building an Africa that is self-sufficient and proud. And for that to happen, we must reclaim our resources. Africa must control its own wealth. It's time to stop allowing foreign corporations to extract our minerals and oil for pennies on the dollar. It's time to build industries within Africa that create jobs and wealth for Africans. This is the only way we will break free from the neo-colonial system. Fatima Maada Bio's words are a wake-up call for all Africans. We cannot continue on this path. The time for change is now. Africa must take control of its destiny. We need leaders who love their people, who are patriotic, and who are willing to stand up to foreign powers. And most importantly, we, the people, must demand accountability from our governments. As Fatima Bio said,
we are going to be allies to everybody who wants us to grow. You cannot be coming to our country and take everything that will make us develop, and then you still treat us as inferior people, as if we don't know what we're doing. I think that is wrong. We're looking for partners that value us.
We need partners who see Africa as equals, not as a source of cheap labor and resources. The fight for Africa's future is one that we must all take part in. It's time to rise, to demand real independence, and to reclaim our continent for ourselves and future generations. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Africa is still under the control of neo-colonialism? What can we do to change this? And remember to like and subscribe for more discussions on how we can build a free and prosperous Africa. Until next time, let's keep fighting for the liberation of our people.